Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. It is April 30th, 2024. This is the Temporary Space Show, the official podcast of Temporary Space Studios. I'm your host with the most, Jim Lettuce. And on this show, I like to talk about technology and entertainment and where they collide. So I got a whole bunch of tabs open this time. This one, it's going to be a long one, so grab some food, go to the bathroom, and let's just jump right into it. So I quit doing the vlog so that I could just do basically the vlog in the first 5 minutes of this podcast. So what happened in March? Well, we did have a solar eclipse. It was pretty cool. It was the first one I actually watched. The last couple I missed, and I really wanted to see this one because it was like a full eclipse like in the movies, and it was really cool. It was trippy. I didn't realize how dark it gets. It was kind of eerie, it got real dark and quiet, and it seemed like all the animals were kind of tripping out, and I can understand why, way back in the day, the ancient civilizations would worship the sun as a god and stuff, because when this kind of stuff would happen, they would be like, what's going on? Is this the apocalypse? So it was pretty cool, and I'm not going to lie, I definitely looked at it with my bare eyes. Not the whole time. I did for like a second. I don't know if it's more dangerous than looking at the sun directly without an eclipse. It seems like it would not be. They all say you go blind. Now, I'm not a doctor, but I for sure used to do that when I was a kid. I used to look directly at the sun all the time for like 5-10 minutes at a time. And my vision is fine, so I don't know what that means. Maybe I was immune because when you're a kid, it's like you have constant health regen, so stuff just doesn't hurt you. So I don't know. But what else? Oh, so there was a hack of AT&T. This happened like in February, I think. And my social security number got leaked. Ain't that a bitch? And it really is annoying because AT&T didn't tell me. I heard about the hack, and there was a day or two where everybody who had an AT&T phone quit. The service wasn't working. I didn't really pay attention because my phone is Verizon, but I forgot that my internet service is AT&T. I have AT&T fiber. It's awesome, by the way. Well, the speed is. I don't know about the whole security part. So my number got leaked, right? And I'm annoyed because AT&T didn't send me any kind of email or message or anything like, hey, we got hacked, change your passwords, nothing. Usually a company will say that. What I got was a message from my bank. And the bank was like, hey, our fraud protection picked up that your social security number got leaked in the AT&T hack. And I'm like, what? Do what? Why did I hear about this from my damn bank and not the company that I'm paying money every month to do? I mean, they always say banks are one of the most, evil corporations out there. But so far, my bank, they've treated me pretty well. Of course, since I said that, they're going to screw me over in some way. And I won't say the name of my bank, but it's a big one. And I'm always hearing articles about how they screw people over, but it hasn't happened to me yet. Statistically, they say that your information will get leaked eventually. Sooner or later, everybody gets hacked. So the best defense is to change your passwords like every 6 months. So that's what I do. I literally just change all my passwords every 6 months. And so for the record, if your social security number gets hacked, these are the steps you need to take because I didn't know what to do. The first thing you do is you call the Social Security Department. You can go to your local office or you can just call them, and you're going to be on hold for like an hour. But that's what I did. I just called them and I told them it happened, and they're like, okay, we'll put a block on your account, which all that really means is I can't log in or start a new account on the Social Security website, like the official government website. So that means I can't request a new card, I can't change my address or anything like that. And that's all it does. There's more steps after that. This is what they told me. She was like, okay, now what you got to do is go to the credit bureaus. For the record, there are 3. There's only 3. I don't know why there's only 3. It's Equifax, TransUnion, and I forgot the other one. Let's look it up while we're here. What are they? 3 credit bureaus. Here it is. Equifax, Experian, and TransUnion. Also, by the way, Equifax got hacked like 4 or 5 years ago, so nothing is safe. It's just gonna happen. You have to accept it. It's gonna happen sooner or later, no matter what you do, because you might be safe, but a company that has your information, they might get hacked, which is what happened. I mean, Equifax themselves got hacked, so it is what it is. But what I did was, so step 1, you call the Social Security Department, tell them your number got leaked. They put a block on your account. Then you go to the 3 credit bureaus. You can do it online. You put a freeze on your account. All that means is that they can't run your credit to start a credit card or anything like that. So nobody can start a new card under your name. They can't get a loan or anything like that. All that is on hold. And you can unfreeze it anytime. The freeze is forever unless you undo it. It's not like it only lasts for 6 months. And if you want to apply for a new credit card, they told me that, because I was on the phone with the lady for like 20 minutes, the credit bureau lady, and she was like, yeah, you can still get a credit card, but you'll have to go through extra steps. So I'm going to leave that stuff on there for a while. I don't know if I'll ever take it off. I don't use credit cards anyways. I was in horrible, horrible credit card debt like 5-6 years ago. And once I paid it off, I cut it in half and I said, I'm never using credit cards again. So far, I do not regret my decision. And then, let me pull up my information. There's 2 other things you got to do. At least this is what the Social Security lady told me. She said you call it's the Federal Trade Commission Identity Theft Clearinghouse. It is identitytheft.gov. And I went there. She said call them and tell them what happened. And then call the official Inspector General Fraud Hotline, which is ssa.gov. I called both of them and I couldn't get to an operator. It was an AI, press 5 to go here, press 1. I did it for an hour. I couldn't get to a human. And as far as I can tell, the only thing those last 2 places can do for you is if an actual fraud took place. As far as I know, no actual loans were in my name or anything like that. Nothing actually happened yet. So those websites, they only help you if actual fraud occurs. Then you have to, there's a form on the website to report the fraud and say, okay, someone stole my credit card, spent all this money, or someone took a loan in my name, or someone filed my taxes under my name. Then you report it to them, and then there's steps you take. But if nothing actually happened, they can't really do anything for you, as far as I can tell. So, yeah, those are the steps you take. Call the Social Security Department, tell them your stuff was leaked, freeze your credit on the 3 bureaus, and hope everything's okay. Now, what else? So, Indiana Jones is a big franchise, or it used to be. Some of the kids today don't even know who that is. But when I was a kid, Indiana Jones was a big, giant movie series about this guy who you've probably heard of Tomb Raider. The Tomb Raider video games are based on Indiana Jones, and he's basically an archaeologist who goes into uh, epic locations to try to secure artifacts and put them in a museum. But he runs into bad guys, and there's evil magical Nazis and stuff like that. And so there's the first one, which is the hold on, let's look them up. What is Indiana Jones movie titles? We have Raiders of the Lost Ark, 1981. That's the first one. Now, I wasn't even alive yet, so I saw that later. But the one I remember was Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom. That was in 1984. And I was a baby when that came out. But I remember as a young tyke, I must have been, I don't know, 7, 8, 9, 10 years old, something like that. The Temple of Doom would come on TV. And so that was my first exposure to Indiana Jones. And it's epic. It's actually really dumb and not like any of the other Indiana Joneses, but my nostalgia is too strong. I love that movie. There's a part where this witch doctor rips a heart out of a dude, and it's epic. It also has the controversial character Shortstop, who was remember that movie Everything Everywhere All at Once? The guy who plays her husband, that's the kid who was in this movie as Shortstop. He's basically his like sidekick in the movie, and so that's my favorite one. There's a third one called Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade from 1989. It has Sean Connery. If you don't know who Sean Connery is, he was the original James Bond back in the day. He actually died about 4 or 5 years ago. RIP. But I recently saw that one for the first time. I tried to watch it a few times over the years, and it was just, I couldn't get into it. But I actually sat down and watched the whole thing with my dad the other day. It's pretty good. I think I like Temple of Doom a little bit better. And the reason I brought all this up is they made a fourth one about 20 years after the third one. So the third one was 1989. They made a new one in 2008, which is, what is that? Almost 20 years. Hold on, my math is terrible. There's a reason I dropped out of college. Am I right? It is... I'm doing my calculator. Oh, 10 years. Wow, I was way off. So about 10 years later... Is that really right? Yeah, that's about right. Anyways, so 10 years later, they made a new Indiana Jones. And this was like, oh, a sequel after so long. He's so old. Blah, blah, blah. And I remember thinking he was old when that movie came out. However, they just made another one in 2023 called The Dial of Destiny, and apparently it was terrible. I heard it sucked. It looked like it sucked, so I didn't watch it, and apparently it flopped financially. But in that one, he's actually really old. And it's so crazy how aging works. When you're young, anybody who's a couple years older than you looks like they're ancient. And then when you get older, you realize that the idea of old, it's real, okay? I'm coping here. But also, it's relative. Like, there's people that are, under 30 and they seem old. And then there's people that are like 100 years old that are pretty spry. So it's kind of hard to judge, in my opinion. But looking back, because I recently sat down and watched The Crystal Skull. It's the one with Shia LaBeouf. It was famously panned. I think it got a Razzie Award. However, it made a lot of money. It was financially successful. And everybody likes to hate on Shia LaBeouf. I actually like him as an actor. I'm bummed that he didn't become... I mean, he was a big star for a while, but he kind of fell off. I think he got in trouble with drugs and stuff like that, and there might have been a controversy with him. I don't really remember the details. He's still around, but he's not the big megastar he used to be. Of course, who is? Most people can't stay megastars unless they're like Tom Cruise. Like all the movie stars you're thinking of in your head, they all fit in like one room. You know what I mean? There's really not that many of them. especially nowadays with the death of the movie star. They're saying that Tom Cruise is the last true movie star. So when he retires, I guess we'll see what happens. Because even Harrison Ford, the Indiana Jones guy, some of these kids at work, they don't know who he is. I name him and they're like, who? And I'm like, oh, the guy that died, Han Solo from the Star Wars movie like 5 years ago. And they're like, oh, I think I know who you mean. But anyways, I remember hating the Crystal Skull movie when it came out. I remember being so mad. I was nitpicking every little detail. But looking back and rewatching it last week, it's great. I loved it. It's corny. It's dumb. There's a part where Shia LaBeouf swings on vines like a monkey, and I get why people hate it, but I liked it. I don't think it's that bad, and a lot of this is nostalgia. Okay, I'll give you that. But I think a lot of the movies nowadays, especially American movies, there's so much politics and propaganda and pushing some kind of message that a lot of people are just watching old stuff now, because back in the day, we're talking like, I don't know, pre-2010, movies used to just be movies. There wasn't that much politics in them. There were politics in movies. Some movies were political. But now it's like every TV show, every movie, everything has some kind of message. It's exhausting because it's not really an escape anymore. Entertainment is supposed to be escape from everyday life. People got to pay bills. People's dreams don't always come true. Like, it used to be an escape to an adventure, And now it's like this reminder of reality all the time, and it's really depressing. And I'm never going to watch The Dial of Destiny unless we end up reviewing it on the Netflix podcast. Link is in the description. That's a separate podcast I do with my buddy Miles. It's called What's New to Netflix Instant. Check it out. But yeah, I guess that's all I have on Indiana Jones. I like it. Crystal Skull was pretty good. It is corny though. There's aliens at one point. But then again, I mean, the original had magic Nazis. So is it really that crazy? So yeah. All right. I got one more here. Okay. So please go to my website, TemporarySpaceStudios.com. That's our official movie studio website. There's a new short film on there that I spent a lot of my own money on, a lot of time and effort, blood, sweat, and tears. And it's out right now. Please go watch it. And it's called Blazer Gibson Hacker. I play the main character where basically he's this hacker that goes head to head against CEO of an evil corporation. It's very slapstick. Don't take it too seriously. It's just a good time. The reason I bring it up, though, is because I released it finally, and I'm doing the rounds, promoting it, telling all my friends and family, putting it on social media. And I put it on YouTube. I put it on Facebook for some reason. I don't know why Facebook is still relevant. It's even less relevant than it was 10 years ago, but whatever. But I put it on Instagram, and the reason I bring this up is because I've been on Instagram for the last month, and, this was a month or two ago, I officially said, you know what, I don't want to be on social media anymore. It's depressing, and I quit looking at it. I would only post, like on Twitter and stuff, for this channel, like my YouTube and stuff. I would post and ghost, like Joe Rogan says. And since I put my trailer for the movie on Instagram, the link is below. It's Temporary Space Studios on Instagram. But I've noticed a clear wave of depression over me that when I sit there and start scrolling, they call it doom scrolling, and I start scrolling and scrolling, and I look up, it's been 2 hours. It's madness. You just get lost in it. And what's crazy is I really don't even see that many ads, but I'm just scrolling and scrolling, and it's designed that way. And it's not nearly as potent as TikTok, but it's basically the same thing at this point. It has the videos that are the vertical that you swipe. And I think I'm going to have to delete it again because it's cool. There's some memes. I've been sending my friends memes, but it's not worth the depression. Something about just doom scrolling. I mean, we had something similar when I was a kid with television. You just kind of flip through channels. But there's something different about social media, whereas old school television, the commercials and stuff were more entertaining. But gosh, it's bad. So I think I'm gonna delete Instagram. Yeah. So there you go. That's the vlog. 20 minutes in. We're not even on to the articles, y'all. This is gonna be a long one, so sit back and enjoy. I have so many tabs open, so let's just jump right into it. Francis Ford Coppola, if anybody doesn't know who that is, he was a big, giant, mega famous auteur director from the 70s. He made these mafia movies called The Godfather, which is basically like the template for all gangster movies now. And he made 3 of them. Big time director. He's so old in this picture, jeez. But he was a big deal, and a lot of people think he died or something. No, he didn't die. He actually makes movies all the time. But it's kind of like George Lucas. First of all, he's so rich, he can just do whatever he wants. But also, he just makes them for enjoyment. But different than George Lucas, he does try to get funding and distribute them. Whereas George Lucas just doesn't care. He just makes movies and then shows them to his famous Hollywood friends, and that's it. He doesn't release it to the public. Whereas Ford Coppola has that same mentality, but what he'll do is, as far as I can tell, he'll try to release a movie, and then when it doesn't work, he'll just complain about it, but then he just keeps doing it. Okay, self-funded epic is deemed too experimental, not good enough for $100 million marketing spend envisioned by the director. So when you make movies, a lot of times they'll spend 2 times the movie budget of production on advertising, because that's just how it is. So let's say you spent $100,000 on the movie, they'll spend $200,000, $300,000 promoting it. So he's saying he wants to spend $100 million on marketing. That means he probably spent $50 million on the movie. Isn't that crazy? NBC Universal Chief Content Officer was there. Sony was there. So did he pitch it to them? All right, full disclosure, I did not read any of these articles beforehand because I'm lazy. Maybe I'll do that on the next episode, but you're just going to experience this in real time with me. Bob Iger was there. Oh, he's the Disney guy. Even though so Disney's actually in a big battle with investors because Disney's been flopping. Okay, so it was the grand unveiling of Megalopolis. That's his movie. March 28th is when it came out. Now they're just talking about... Oh, Shia LaBeouf is in this? What? Hold on. We gotta look this up on IMDb. Hold the phone. I thought this was a bit more obscure of a movie. Megapolis, IMDb. Hold the phone. He got Shia LaBeouf in this? No. Well, it stars Aubrey Plaza, Adam Driver. Yeah, Shia LaBeouf. What? I need to watch a trailer. Let me try to pull up the trailer. Well, I don't want to pull it up. It'll play copyrighted music. You'll just have to look at it yourself. Wow, wait, let's read the plot on IMDb at least. Hold on. Why do I have that other tab open? It says, an architect wants to rebuild New York City as a utopia following a devastating disaster. What's crazy is a lot of these big-time directors, when they kind of fall off, they won't get as big a movie stars, but there's some stars in here. We got Dustin Hoffman, Jason Schwartzman. Okay, they're not the biggest stars nowadays. I guess if you're under 30, you might not know who these people are, but they were pretty big stars back in the day. Adam Driver's big though. He was in, uh, what's his name, Kylo Ren in Star Wars. I almost want to see a trailer. This movie looks crazy. Shia LaBeouf is in drag as far as I can see. Let me pull up these photos. There's 34 photos on here. Adam Driver looks... Oh, it's kind of a weird, trippy, like, modern art film. It's not necessarily a period piece. Isabel Koosman. I've heard that name. I don't know who that is. This movie actually looks kind of crazy. I gotta sit down and watch it. Anyways, apparently nobody wants to put up the money. He began writing it in the 80s. Okay, the budget was $120 million. It was self-funded. I can relate to that. Most of it from his wine empire. So a big reason Francis Ford Coppola is still rich is because he has a wine empire that he built with all of his movie money. Take notes, kids. When you become big and famous for something, use all that money to build something else, because the big famous thing usually doesn't last. This is a big issue that professional athletes deal with. But 2 hours, so it's 2 hours and 15 minutes. Wow. So Adam Driver plays an architect. So it's like an artsy fartsy kind of movie. So he kind of invented the artsy fartsy movie. And when he did The Godfather, it was the first time kind of artsy fartsy became a big budget Hollywood thing. They don't really do that anymore these days. They still make artsy fartsy movies, but they're small. They're not... I mean, all the big movies are superhero movies so far. All right, we got another picture of Shia LaBeouf, and he looks like a gay cowboy from the 70s. Okay. What is this movie? He was in like weird Caesar's Palace garb in one scene, and now he's this weird cowboy thing. What is this movie? Anyways, so apparently he tried to get A24. They make a lot of these quote unquote indie movies. So apparently he had a big thing to get all these people to distribute it and promote it, and apparently nobody would do it. Everybody assumes since he's such a big famous director, he would just get a deal right away. Here's a quote. "I find it hard to believe any distributor would put up cash money to stay in first position to recoup the P&A, that's posters and advertising, as well as their distribution fee. If Coppola is willing to put up..." So basically they want him to put up more money. Because, movies are pretty risky these days, especially in America. Places like Bollywood, their industries are blowing up. South Korea industries. But the American Hollywood industry is slowly or quickly dying. I talked a lot about the strikes, the actor and writer strike that just ended in the last episode. So check that out. This is... the episode we're on is 26. So I talk about that stuff in episode 25. Alright. So there's apparently it's real cringy John Voight's character in bed with a huge erection. Whoa. This movie sounds crazy. I have to watch it. It's like a super big indie artsy fartsy movie. Alright, the gist is nobody wants to put up the money. Well, that means it probably sucks. Moving on. What? Why do I have an article about cans of salmon? Check your cans of salmon for worms. Okay. I wish websites would stop asking for all of our cookies. I'm just trying to... How do I click accept? All right. Well, I'll just wing it. I'm just going to freeball it. I can't get this article to work. They released a next gen, quote, it's not really next gen, it's current gen version of Fallout 4. Fallout 4 is a game from 2016, 17. It is, if you've heard of Skyrim, it's Bethesda. It's it's like a post-apocalyptic game. And there's a new TV show called Fallout. This is that same IP. I think they coincided it with the release of the Fallout TV show. We might as well talk about that too. But they released a next generation version of it that has like 60 frames per second, 4K resolution, blah, blah, blah. And apparently it sucks. Now, Bethesda is notorious, absolutely notorious for releasing games that are broken. And I had a feeling this new version would be terrible. And I was right. I was listening to Digital Foundry. That's another podcast, YouTube thing. They do like analysis of video games and frame rates and stuff. And they were talking about how bad it is. And I'm still going to play it because I love Fallout. A lot of people hate on Fallout, but that game made so much money. It made more money than all their other games combined. Even Skyrim, that game that's like 12 years old that still sells copies, it made more money than that. Okay? Let that sink in. They're still making a Fallout 5. They have an online MMO version called Fallout 76, which is debatable how good it is. But that's why they made the Fallout show, because it's such a good IP. The world, the lore is real rich. It's basically in 1950, America and China went to war and nukes went off, and it basically caused the apocalypse. And a lot of these people went into these underground vaults and they survived. And the video games, including the show as well, you star someone who was in these vaults. Like, you were born and raised in a vault, and then you escape the vault and go out into the wastelands where there's radiation and mutants and stuff like that. And it's very interesting. Talking about it now makes me want to play it. So as far as I've heard, the show is really good, and this re-release of the game was meant to coincide with the show, which is genius marketing. Apparently, Fallout 76, the MMO, had 1 million players log in one day, which is crazy. Especially because that game itself is a few years old. It's about 4 or 5. And I guess I just wanted to talk about how Bethesda is losing their fan base. Now, they're probably still making money, but they just released Starfield, which was a space game, and it had a lot of bugs. They use a very old video game engine, which is terrible. And now Rockstar, the people that make Grand Theft Auto, they also use a really old engine, but it's a newer version of the engine. And that's what Bethesda said their game engine was. However, when you play new Rockstar games, they don't, it's like Bethesda games, they'll have bugs that their old games have. And it's a new game, and it's like, have they not fixed this yet? So, a lot of controversy. Todd Howard, the leader of it, he basically said, we really upgraded the engine for Starfield, the space game, but I've seen reviews of it. It looks pretty bad. And then they have things like, there's no map in the game. How do you have a game in 2024 and there's no map? Like, there's one map that's really crappy, and Bethesda is known for having terrible maps in their games. But when you play a game like that, you're like, come on, how much money did you spend? Was there nobody somewhere in the assembly line that was like, hey guys, there's no map. Can we maybe add that? It's a still JPEG. How hard is that? Am I right? But whatever. I digress. Basically, the Fallout re-release kind of sucks, but I'm still very hype and I still want to play it. So I should upload a video of that at some point on our YouTube channel. Check it out. All right, let's go to the next one. Blackmagic Design releases DaVinci Resolve editing panel. Ooh, they have this like attachment for your iPad that has dials and stuff, which is very cool. I kind of want that. I recently started doing DaVinci Resolve, which is Blackmagic Design's editing program. It's free. Um, so Blackmagic Design, they actually made cameras originally, and they created DaVinci Resolve to be this closed ecosystem for their cameras. But lo and behold, it's actually one of the best editing platforms now. Final Cut kind of fell off. Adobe Premiere is still in it. It's basically Final Cut, Adobe Premiere, or DaVinci Resolve now. But DaVinci Resolve is free, whereas Final Cut is cheaper, but it's a bit out of date these days. And then Adobe Premiere or Adobe Cloud is just so buggy. I've heard that it's just nobody wants to even do it anymore. But it's so ingrained in the industry, people still have to do it. But so they released a new version of DaVinci Resolve 9.1 or something. And I'm excited to try it out. I really want to download it. But I like version 8, so I don't know if I'm really going to switch. But this little panel thing with the dials cost, geez, $500. That's a lot. I don't know if I really want that. That's a lot. I was thinking like $300-$400. Oh, that's not even the big one. They have a better one that's $900. But yeah, DaVinci Resolve going hard. I like it. My experience with DaVinci Resolve, trying it, because I was a rusty video editor. I hadn't done it in like 8 years. I got back into it to start editing vlogs and the podcast and stuff, and I like it. It's quite legit. Okay. Why do I have articles about legislation? That's boring. Okay. Ooh, I don't know if I talked about this before, but Netflix, they started cracking down on their password sharing. So everybody does this. They don't want to pay for Netflix, but their mom or their cousin or their friend uses it, so they use it. And Netflix made a big announcement. They said, we're going to start cracking down. Anybody that's using their friend's password, it's just going to take you to a screen that says, hey, you can't use it anymore, but here's a link to sign up. And everybody said Netflix is stupid. They're going to lose all their subscribers. Wrong. They did it, and they had a surge of new signups. Isn't that wild? They gained like 60 million subscribers. This was about 6 months ago, so this is old news, but for some reason I have an article saved, like a new article. So I just wanted to talk about that. I've talked about this before, but Netflix is killing it. It's the only streaming service that's still pulling a profit. Not even Disney's Plus is pulling a profit. I think there's going to be a big consolidation. You've already heard rumors that Disney might sell. It's like either Disney might buy Apple or Apple might buy Disney Plus or something. Anyways, they're all going to consolidate. I think it's going to only be Netflix and maybe like one or two others, which it kind of is now. But, things like Hulu, Peacock, Paramount Plus, I've heard Paramount is trying to merge with Discovery now because Discovery and Max merged. Now, Max is interesting because I think they're also not very profitable. However, Max's IP are very strong. They're almost stronger than Disney's IP. Think about how strong Disney's old catalog is, and they still can't make a profit. Isn't that crazy? But I'm thinking about turning my Max subscription back on because House of Cards just came out. Let's see. Not House of Cards. House of the Dragon. Let's see. What is House of the Dragon release date? Season 2. Because it says August 2022. Oh, June 16th. Hell yeah. They had a really good marketing campaign where they released two different trailers for the different families. There's House Green and House Black. House Green, I think, is the Targaryens. And House... No, that's House Black. House Green is the other one. I'm House Targaryen because Matt Smith is by far the best part of that show. He carries that show. And not that the other people suck that bad, but if he wasn't in the show, I don't think it would have been a hit. I'm personally very hype about it. Yeah, I don't know how I got onto that tangent, but I was talking about Netflix. Basically, Netflix is killing it. That's the gist. All right, what else? All right, here's more of a technology slash science one. They found a they found lava, therefore a volcano, on Jupiter's moon. So I'm pretty sure Jupiter is the gas giant. I'm rusty on my astronomy here. Is Jupiter? Yeah. So most planets are rock, whereas Jupiter, I mean, there is a rock core somewhere in the middle, but Jupiter is mostly gas and like mega hurricanes, and like the temperature on Jupiter is like 1 billion degrees. And there's actually this really cool indie movie with the guy from Avatar. What is that? Oh, I gotta look this up. Hold on. We reviewed it on the Netflix podcast. The guy in it, Sam Worthington, one of the most unknown actors who's probably one of the highest paid ever because he's in Avatar. What was that movie? He did this indie movie where he played a guy who's like training to go on a mission to Jupiter, and spoiler alert, they slowly like experiment on him and he changes his DNA into this like alien thing that can hold his breath underwater for like, days at a time. And what is that movie? I can't remember what it was called. Maybe it was called The Titan? No, that's not it. Oh, that's it. Okay, it's called The Titan. And they they take these soldiers and their families and they go live out in the desert in this like made up town where they all train, kind of like that movie The Right Stuff. But then slowly you start to notice something weird. And spoiler alert, he turns into an alien at the end, and it's actually a really interesting, good movie. I highly recommend it. It's a very like straight to DVD kind of movie, not a big budget at all, but they really used their budget well. And anyways, back to Jupiter. So they found a volcano on there. That's so cool. The moon is called Io. They had that in the game Destiny or Destiny 2. It's like a space game. Very exciting. There were a bunch of robots on Io in that game. So a lot of the surfaces on that moon are smooth as glass. Because apparently there's lots of volcanoes. That's crazy. Awesome. They found a lake full of magma. That's so cool. Continue reading. Yes. We have a concept video. Oh, apparently it's like a very... Oh, that's boring. Okay. One day this podcast will be visual for the YouTube viewers. Right now it's just our thumbnail. So if you're listening on Spotify or iTunes, don't worry, you're not missing out yet. But so apparently there's constant volcanism, intense radiation. So there's probably not much life. Oh, this is so cool. All right, it's called the Juno mission. I guess that's the name of the spaceship. All right, that's all there is to it. They found a volcano. We're exploring space. Excited. What is Microsoft Sales Copilot? What? Oh, okay. So I love talking about AI, technology, and entertainment, right? For the podcast. So Microsoft, their AI, for a long time, they had Cortana, which was related to the hologram lady from Halo, which I think they got rid of that. I think they're idiots. They should have kept that branding. Everybody knows what Cortana is, even if it sucked. They should have kept that branding. I know I'm not a marketer, and I know sometimes brands get tainted, but I think when your brand is recognizable and people know it, that is almost invaluable. Uh, you might tarnish the image, but it's a lot easier to fix an image than it is to create a new one that people try to get them to remember it. That's my 2 cents. But the Microsoft Copilot is some kind of, it's an AI assistant. Oh, this is an offshoot of their AI specifically for sellers, like businesses. It creates insight. Can't you just use Google for that? A lot of these AI are just trying to catch up to ChatGPT. They still are. I think ChatGPT is still ahead of the game. When all this stuff started, they were saying we're 50 years away from artificial general intelligence, which is, they call it AGI, which is literally like Terminator, what you're thinking of your head, like AI that can think for itself. That now they're saying we're only like 10 years away. I've said this before. I love this stuff. I'm a fan, but I truly believe it's going to, if we don't if we don't combine with the AI like the singularity, it's going to destroy us Terminator style. So I think the solution is to stop, turn it off. They're never going to do it. The cat's out of the bag. Businesses want to do it. Governments want to use it. Even if they outlaw it, hackers on the internet are going to use it. So we can't turn it off. But man, once it hits AGI, we're done. I mean, what do you do when there's something that's smarter than you and it can get smarter than you faster? It's crazy. AI is developing so fast. It took humans millions of years to evolve from monkeys or whatever, but AI is developing within decades. It's crazy. And people say it doesn't matter, it's human made. They say gods are human creations. Maybe they're right, but that does not discount their power. Humans created atomic bombs, those are powerful. Just because it's man-made doesn't mean it's less dangerous or less powerful, right? So this is AI. Microsoft Copilot is like a sales offshoot. So it's mostly for companies. It's to turbocharge sales teams and improve productivity. So there's another camp that says AI is not going to take jobs. It's just going to take all the boring jobs that people don't like. The problem is a lot of the lower income communities, they do these jobs. And I also think that more jobs will be created. Or we could go the Andrew Yang route where he said that once they take over jobs, just put a tax on it and that can pay for universal basic income. That's kind of political. We don't do politics here, so some people get upset when you talk about it. I think it wouldn't work unless you're using robots, some kind of unlimited workforce to support it. That's one thing Elon Musk brought up. He said once we have robots that can take over the labor force, like Andrew Yang, he said UBI is actually very doable in that way. We could end up with a utopia kind of like Star Trek where nobody needs money anymore. And people, they have atomizers that create food and objects whenever you want. I think it's possible, but we're playing with fire. It brings you back to the whole AI Terminator taking us over thing. So maybe we won't be able to control it. Probably not. So, it is what it is. Let's move on. I'm over this article. Oh, wait, hold on. I have another article that talks about how this is taking over coding. Now, computer coding is a big topic because a lot of people are losing their jobs. everyone is saying learn to code. I remember when a lot of truckers started losing their jobs because we're having AI automated self-driving trucks, which is still a thing. It's becoming more and more prevalent. It's also taking over Uber as well. A lot of people said, well, learn coding. And the argument against that was, the people that say that, they're guys in their 50s. They can't learn coding. It's not an option for them. However, if AI is doing it for you, how hard could it be? But then again, if AI is doing it for you, why learn it at all? And which brings me back to these new jobs being created. A new job, a new industry, if you're trying to make it in the future, learn how to use these AIs. That it's a big skill. People that can do prompt entering for like ChatGPT and AI and Sora and those image generation ones. If you're really good at using the AI, people that can control the AI, make it do what they want, that is a skill. Kind of like people that got really good at Photoshop became valuable. Same thing. If you get really good with utilizing AI and you know how to do the prompts and control it and manipulate it, you potentially can become a god. Theoretically. Alright. Ooh, here's a new one. This is in the entertainment section. Sea of Thieves is coming to PS5. Sea of Thieves is an MMO where you're pirates. It's not like super high quality graphics. It's more of a stylized, I wouldn't say Minecraft. It's more somewhere in terms of graphical fidelity and, sophistication. It's not Minecraft, but it's not like Fortnite. It's somewhere in between. So it's newer, better quality than Minecraft, but not quite the fidelity of Fortnite. It's very stylized. I like it. I've been wanting to get into it, but I don't have a PC that can game anyways. And I don't have an Xbox, which I'm going to buy one in the future to play Starfield eventually. But so Microsoft bought Xbox. Sorry. They acquired the developer that created Sea of Thieves. And Sea of Thieves, it was a handful of video games that are going to go cross-platform that were... what the heck? It's doing a weird scan of my device. I think that is a terrible website. I'm just going to freeball it. So, what was I saying? Sea of Thieves is one of the games that they decided to make multi-platform after the acquisition from Microsoft. And I'm excited. This article, before I had to delete it, it said they gained 40 million total subscribers to their game before the PS5 launch. Let's see, has it launched on PS5 yet? I don't think it has. Thieves PS5 launch date. Oh, it's already out. April 28th. Oh, that was a couple days ago. Oh, never mind. April 30th. Oh, snap. That's today, the day of the recording. I'm really trying to get this podcast out before the next month because I'm always like a week or two late. Technically, this is the podcast for April. But wow. Basically, I'm hyped for this game. And it's basically like you're pirates and you have to get a ship and your friends join and like each person has a job on the ship. And you can do pirate stuff. You go to islands and find treasure. There's sea monsters you can fight. You can attack each other and have pirate ship battles. It's like a really cartoony, dumbed down version of that Assassin's Creed spin-off game with the ships. What was that called? It was the one they called Quadruple A that kind of flopped. But I'm excited about it. I'll definitely try to make a video on my YouTube channel about it. So yeah, Sea of Thieves, very exciting. Let's move on. So let's talk about technology, which is Apple, but also business. So apparently, Apple, for context, Apple computers, Mac, all that, right? iPhones. As far as right now, Apple is the most successful financially. Like, they're making the most money. It's the biggest company in the world in terms of money. Not necessarily size, but income and profits. Apple is king. Apple. But recently, they lost their smartphone lead. The number one smartphone now apparently is Samsung. So Samsung and Apple have been battling it out for decades. They're kind of like the two families in Romeo and Juliet, the Capulets and the Montagues. They hate each other. They've been battling for decades, and they're always suing each other. And apparently Samsung took the top spot, and now everyone's questioning Apple stock. I am a stockholder of Apple. I got like a couple of shares. Their stock is actually at a 52-week low. That means it's down for the whole year. And everyone's going, oh, what's up with the stock? Well, I'm not an investor. This is not investment advice at all. I think the stock of Apple is fine. Their ecosystem is fine. The brand loyalty is huge. It's like a cult, kind of like Starbucks. Also, they're going into healthcare, so I think they're fine. Okay, especially they're making their own computer chips. So people in the financial community tend to go, oh my god, what's gonna happen when a stock goes up and down, and for a good reason, But I'm more of a long-term investor, so I tend not to worry about these ups and downs as much, although I do. But I just want to bring this up. It says, they're still number 2. So it's not like they're falling off. They're just not number 1. This is the thing with investors. They always want you to be number 1. They want you to be raising your profit margins and raising them at a higher rate every year, which is kind of insane. Nobody can actually do that consistently. But it's just interesting to talk about. It says Apple delivered 51 million iPhones in 3 months. Wow, that's crazy. Whereas Samsung did 80 million. Oh, wait, hold on. Oh, it's once again, they're not going up as fast as they should. That's so crazy. So they're still, they lost it in the US. What about international though? Because usually it's in the US is where Apple wins the most, even though they're sold all over the world. Samsung usually beats them as far as global, just because Samsung is in more countries. But so I think in this, they're talking about in America it lost its top spot. Ooh, that's not good. They're saying the same thing. They're saying don't dump your stock. It's still fine. Still a good company. This is on Seeking. Oh no, this is the Motley Fool. I like Motley Fool website better than Seeking Alpha. These are financial websites. I signed up for Seeking Alpha and it sucks. It's nothing but spam. All the good articles are behind a paywall. Whereas as far as I can tell, Motley Fool does not do the same. And we'll probably talk about the Apple headset, the VR headset, the Apple Vision Pro they just released. I think I have an article later in the episode, but with them losing their top spot and their VR headset not doing that well, I think it's fine. They're still going to be top 3 company in the next 20, 30 years. So don't worry about it. It's just interesting to talk about who's in the running. It's like watching a horse race. Like, oh, so-and-so's first, so-and-so's second. Kind of like when you watch I like to pay attention to who the richest people are in the world. And it's always like, Elon Musk, Bill Gates, Jeff Bezos, Mark Zuckerberg. But they're always neck and neck, up and down. Like Elon Musk has been the richest man, but then he goes down. And there's some Indian guy that beat him out as the richest man. I think he's just an investor, though. I don't think he's an actual business guy like the other guys. But, I just like the race. I like seeing who's winning, who's losing. Again, Apple's not really losing. They're just not number one for now. All right, here's another article about Microsoft's AI deepfake tool. There was some controversy. It's a little too political to bring it up. Basically, a lot of these AI generators they're only as powerful as the people that make them for now. And it's interesting to see which ones win out and which ones don't. It's called Vasa 1, apparently. Oh, cool. It can make Mona Lisa rapping. It's the one that takes images and then moves their mouth, which is actually really cool. I want to experiment with all this AI stuff. I just don't have the funds. If you want to see stuff like that in the future, help me out. Click one of the links below. Buy our merchandise. LetUsWearClothing.com. That helps. All right, let's move on to the next one. How many more do I have? I have so many. We might have to skip a few. I'm already at an hour. Let's see. I need to curate these more. We're going to skip that one. Oh, cool. So, Mustang, they have a famous car called the Shelby Mustang, and there's a movie about it called... What is that movie called? It's got Matt Damon, Christian Bale. We reviewed it on the Netflix podcast. Christian Bale... Ford vs. Ferrari? Is that what the name of the movie is called? It's called Ford vs. Ferrari? That's the name of the movie? I thought it was named something else. Anyways, this is a true story. So Ferrari, you've heard of Ferrari. They're known for having super fast cars. There's this cross-country race called Le Mans, and it's... in France, it's those where people have the Subarus, they're driving through the woods and stuff, and the people wait on the sidelines and cheer. It's like a race that goes for like 24 hours. This was, what year was this? I want to say the 60s or the 70s. Basically, Ferrari was talking shit. And Ford was like, nah, we can beat you with our Mustang. And they were trying to release a new Mustang and make more money. And they challenged him. And they said, okay, we can make a new car that will beat Ferrari. And they hired this famous car guy named Shelby. Carroll Shelby. He was a famous car designer. And he had won that race, Le Mans, years prior. Ford came to him and said, look, we need you to help us build a Mustang so that we can beat Ferrari. And long story short, it's a true story, so it's not really a spoiler. It beat the Ferrari. It won. And it's a famous Mustang called the Shelby Mustang. And they've made newer versions of it over the years. And apparently they have a new Shelby Mustang coming out. It's called the Super Snake. And it looks pretty awesome. I'm a fan of Mustangs. Some of the newer Mustangs, they look a little small. They kind of look like toy cars. Now, I think, as far as I can tell, Mustangs were not necessarily muscle cars. They were more sports cars. But I think of them as muscle cars because they used to be really loud and large. But the newer ones, they're not that big. Let's see. I'm going to try to play this without playing copyrighted music. It looks cool. Oh man, it does look cool. It's got a V8 engine. It's not electric. I've said this before. I really like electric cars as a fan of technology, but in practice, I don't like them because they're quiet. You can't hear them coming up on you. Like if you're going to get hit by a car, usually you hear that thing coming. With these electric cars, you can't hear them. And just the marvel of engineering of combustion engine cars is something that I hope never goes away. It probably will eventually. It's only going to be something rich people have. But, man. Oh, a Super Snake? That's such a cool name for a car. Now, a lot of people talk smack about Ford. But I don't see the problem. I like it. It looks pretty cool. The engine looks very crazy. Man, I want one. Alright, that's all. I just wanted to talk about the new car, the Shelby Mustang Super Snake. They're only making, oh wow, they're only making 250 of these. Like I said, rich people will own this, not regular people. Alright, let's move on to some AI stuff. Intel unveils largest ever AI neuromorphic computer that mimics the human brain. Okay, here we go. We're one step closer to AGI. Now, Intel's been falling off the last 5-10 years because Nvidia has overshadowed them with their graphics cards. The problem is Intel doesn't make graphics cards, they make processors. Apparently their processors are still pretty good though. They're trying to make one that mimics the human brain. Basically, the human body is a marvel of engineering, you could say. And they're always trying to make machines and or companies and products that mimic the organs of humans. They tried to make a processing company that mimicked a liver. This was 100 years ago. They couldn't do it. It was too complicated. It just goes to show you how incredible the human body is. But this thing says it can perform workloads 50 times faster and use 100 times less energy than conventional computing. However, this is not a quantum computer. Those are on a different scale. We won't really go into quantum computing. Not that I know that much about it, but I'm a fan. They're calling it Hollow Point. That's the name of it? Okay. Initially, it's going in a lab, but this kind of stuff trickles down to consumers eventually. It can make 20 quadrillion operations per second, blah, blah, blah. 20 petaflops. Alright, to give you an idea about these flops, the new PlayStation 5 and Xbox, those are... Oh, let's look it up. How many teraflops is PS5? Okay, so to give you a perspective, the PS5 has 10 teraflops. You don't really need to know the technology, just look at the numbers. Okay, the PS5 has 10 teraflops, and we know PS5 is not as good as a fancy computer. It's probably, I don't know, 1/8 the power of a brand new gaming computer in 2024, right? So that's teraflops, 10 teraflops. Alright, we need a converter here. How many? I think it's in the thousands. How many teraflops in a petaflop? One petaflop. Okay, that's what I thought. Okay. 1 petaflop is 1,000 teraflops. Okay, so remember, PS5 is 10 teraflops. This processor is 20 petaflops. Okay? And remember, 1 petaflop is 1,000 teraflops. So this thing is 20,000 PS5s put together per... What is that? Per... I don't know the numbers, but... Holy crap! That's insane! Man, the future of computing is very exciting. I think one day we will get to that Star Trek level where any computer is just a terminal that you plug into with any universal plug, and you can just pretty much do anything you want. Speed, size, transfer speed, they will all be irrelevant. The only real factor will be the signal strength and your security level, and that's about it. Isn't that insane? I'm so excited for the future. Uh, this thing is the size of someone's fingerprint. Not even their whole finger. We're looking at like 1/3 the size of your finger. It kind of looks like I'm trying to look up a comparison. It's smaller than your finger. Like it fits on your fingertip. That's crazy. I'd say like the size of a large mosquito. There's a size reference for you. Uses neural networks. Neural networks are computers that mimic the neural pathways of your brain. I don't want to get into that. Again, I'm not an expert. Just Google what a neural network in your brain looks like. They started making computers that do that, which is crazy. Kind of skimming through this because people complain when I read the article on the podcast. I'm trying to just like skim it. Achieved high. Man, this is crazy. So the application is what I'm excited about. This is going to be the thing that's going to power ChatGPT and stuff like that in the future. Because a lot of this crazy computing is being pushed by AI. These companies, they want to beat ChatGPT. The only way to have really good AI and stuff like that is to have crazy, powerful, fast computers. Like off the charts. Like we said, the power of 20,000 PS5s. Okay, here's the tab. We're moving on. We're going to talk about the Fallout show. I have not watched it yet because I recently canceled my Amazon Prime membership. So I don't know if I really want to reactivate it just for this one show. But apparently it's really good. They follow the lore. There's a lot of Easter eggs for the gaming community. And now take notes, big companies that make stuff. They did not shit on the lore. They didn't shit on the original fans. They definitely made it accessible to non-fans, like new people. But they did not sell out and screw over the fans. A lot of new things are doing that. Things like the Warhammer show, apparently. And just they do this all the time. An IP becomes so big, they try to make a new movie or like a mainstream entry, and then they totally crap on all the original fans so that they can gain new fans, and then it flops and people are confused by it. A good example of someone that did the opposite of this was the Last of Us show on HBO. They followed the lore very religiously, and lo and behold, it's a hit because the original fans love it, the fanboys, the fangirls, but also the new audience loved it because they stayed true to the lore and the story and the IP, which is what made it. There's a reason they make an adaptation. It's because it was already had fans, right? If it ain't broke, don't fix it. Am I right? All right, now let's move on. Ooh, now this is interesting. Netflix and A24. A24 is a production house that does a lot of these high-budget indie movies. A lot of times they're horror movies, but not necessarily anymore. Now, using AI for this kind of stuff in movies was a big sore spot. That's part of the reason they had strikes. So, to give you context, they'll use AI for like backgrounds. Like, let's say you're too lazy to find a background for Grand Canyon and you don't want to pay stock footage, you don't want to pay a cinematographer to get a drone and go get that footage. Now, AI is so good, you can literally get an AI to fill in the background for you for a movie. And a lot of the actors and writers are like, wait, you're going to use AI to write a script? Our jobs are leaving. And I think it's another example of it's going to be used as a productivity tool up until the point when it takes over. And it will, don't worry. But I think human-made things are not going to go away. They're just going to become less profitable, and no one's going to use it in a business thing. But it's still going to exist. They're still going to make it, all right? It's just going to be more of a novelty item versus the mainstream. And apparently, it was an A24 movie, and also Netflix created show True Detective. They used AI to create images and backgrounds for these shows. It was True Detective, the new one with Jodie Foster, and Late Night with the Devil, which was a A24 movie, a horror movie. And I guess they used the AI generated images during a transition in the film. Oh, this is so cool because I'm not a traditionalist. I love all the new technology. But as an independent filmmaker, I appreciate the human-made aspect. And so, but I'm also a business owner, so I totally want to utilize AI, but I think there's a place for both to exist. You know, like I said earlier, the AI is only as powerful as the user. So instead of getting rid of your human staff, what you need to do is spend more resources hiring a human staff that really can utilize the AI efficiently. That's what you need to do. Reese Witherspoon, she was a big actor back in the day. She said AI is here to stay. We have to get used to it. I think she's a producer on the movie. She was a huge, mega Hollywood starlet about 20 years ago. She has since transitioned to producer role, which is a good move. Apparently that Civil War movie used AI for posters that were in the background of a shot. That's pretty interesting. Oh yeah, they used AI. So A24 used AI to create a city background in a couple of shots, and apparently it was Chicago, and so a lot of people from Chicago were like, wait a minute, that's not accurate. And that's when people were like, oh my gosh, it's AI, bring out the pitchforks. Interesting. So there was a movie about AI in 2015 with Oscar Isaac called Ex Machina that addresses this issue where you make an AI and then you lose control over it. This is also the plot of Terminator. So interesting. Basically, people are mad about it. I think, they're not going to stop using AI. So getting mad about it is like shouting at the wind. Like, what are you really going to do? And it leads me back to the whole Ray Kurzweil singularity argument. It's like, yo, we have to join the machines, otherwise we will cease to exist, period. And it also brings up Neuralink, the Elon Musk's chip you put in your head. That works, by the way. I want to get it when I'm older. I'm going to wait, though. Not going to do it yet. But the human trials are going well. Very exciting. All right, so basically, people have butthurt about AI in movies, and it's not going to go away. We'll skip that one. That one's lame. More Microsoft AI. Oh, here's a Neuralink article I have. Apparently, gosh, I swear, y'all, I talk all day, but as soon as I start recording the podcast, suddenly I have to burp all the time, and I have a bunch of stuff in my throat, so give me a second. WTF. I am not a good public speaker in that department. Alright, so you know what? We're skipping this article because it keeps wanting me to pay. Alright, here's Adobe. Now, we talked about Adobe Premiere with the video editing earlier. So Adobe Express, I think, is like a smaller AI. It's a streamlined video editing platform that's like an app on your phone, especially like if you're a social media, you create videos on like TikTok and Instagram. That's what Adobe Express is. They have added generative AI features. What does it do though? Hold on. Yeah, mostly for social media people. I kind of want to get into this. But what is the point of the article? You can sample. Oh, it can do text in it, text to image generation. Um, Good for editing things. Like if you have a picture and you say, oh, I want to remove the tree, it'll do that for you. You can just type it text. It's also good for creating text on video. See, these are things that Photoshop people had a stranglehold on the market, and now AI is taking that over. It's very interesting. Like here's an example. It says, here's a picture of an apple, put a worm on it. Stuff like that. Very simple. Things that might be a pain in the ass if you don't want to hire a Photoshop person on or a video editor. You don't want to hire them on Fiverr. You could just do this. Very exciting. What? You can see the tire, now you don't? What tire? It's basically Photoshop. What the heck? What? Oh. Alright. I love iPhone, but sometimes some of the things on here are stupid. So a lot of this is removing stuff from the background. It can generate stuff too. You could say it adds something. It's not perfect though. So keep an eye on Adobe Express. I think it'll be a lot more powerful in the future. All right, Apple stock. We already talked about that. Ooh, here we go. NASA is set to launch a solar sail for sunlight. They've had this in movies. They have it in one of the old Star Wars movies. Basically, solar energy and solar radiation is a real thing. And they have these sails they can set up. It looks like a tinfoil almost. You can set it up, and it's an extremely efficient energy source that basically propels you in space. And it's not very fast, but like I said, it's efficient. It's slow, but you don't use any fuel. You just open it up like a sail, like on the sea, and it just works. They've utilized it in satellites, and apparently NASA is experimenting with Rocket Lab's Electron vehicle. Rocket Lab is a company I'm invested in. It's a smaller company that launches smaller rockets, like not necessarily big satellites, but rockets that are small enough for like smaller satellites. Apparently, they're going to utilize Rocket Lab's rocket called Electron to launch this solar sail, and it's the Advanced Composite Solar Sail System. It says the mission will use composite booms. I think that's like a boom mic, like an extended stick, basically. So they're going to put it in orbit and test the sails. So it's experimental. It's no actual goal in the mission. They're not delivering cargo or anything. It's just gaining data. It's a microwave-sized CubeSat. So it's about the size of a microwave. And it's going to use the solar sail to propel it in orbit. It's going to take 25 minutes. That's pretty short. Oh, okay. So the actual unit they're putting up is the size of a microwave, but with the solar sail included, it's the size of a tiny studio apartment, which is a fancy word for those apartments that don't have a separate bedroom. They used to call them efficiencies back in the day. Basically, it's like a kitchen, a living room, and a bathroom, and that's it. There's no separate bedroom. Interesting. Deployed using 4 composite booms that span the diagonal of the square. Very cool. The missions will last for about 2 months, so it's going to orbit for 2 months. The picture on here looks like a square almost. Here it is. Solar sails run on photons from the sun. There you go. There's an efficient exclamation. This is how we're going to get to Mars, because the problem with Mars is it's not that far away per se, but it costs so much fuel. The amount of money and fuel used to propel it is so big, it's not really worth it. You'd have to have a ship the size of the Titanic or something, and it's just a ship that big it's going to take too much fuel to get it into orbit. So then you get into logistics like, okay, we almost need to build the ship in space. So then you got to have more space stations. I think our space station's about to leave. Russia and China are putting their own space station. So there's a lot of logistics with space travel. So that's why solar sails and a more efficient fuel system is needed. There's another one they have where they shoot a laser at it, which is interesting. There's a solar sail ship in No Man's Sky, which is really cool. I like them. They're not as maneuverable as the S-Class ships, but I don't want to go on a tangent of No Man's Sky. Alright, well, that's it. So basically they're experimenting with solar sails for real, not just a random satellite here and there. Very interesting. Darkest... Alright, so this is a game. It's called Darkest Dungeon. It looks cool. Here we go. Let's play a trailer. I think this caught my eye because it's like a dungeon crawler. Show me the gameplay. There is no gameplay. I think it's like an isometric, kind of like Diablo. Oh, I take it back. It's like a thing on rails. Nope. Skipped. Here we go. We were talking about quantum computers. The major first quantum information produced, stored, and retrieved. So quantum computing is a whole topic. Just Google it. I can try to explain it, but then again, they say if you think you understand it, you don't. I'm no scientist, so I don't understand it, but I kind of do. The thing is, it's so powerful, they don't really know how to utilize it yet. They don't know how to apply quantum computing to anything yet. But in this application, so they can do it, but they can't carry it very far. So they're having trouble transferring quantum computing. So it's like you can use the quantum computer power, but you have to be in the room. They're trying to find a way to make it utilized on longer distances. So they're trying to stabilize it with optical cables, but that's not working. So transmission is an issue. They're trying to create repeaters that will extend the signal, kind of like when you have a Wi-Fi extender, but for quantum computing power. So, it's just like it's a mega computer, but it only works in the room. And they're trying to make it where we can use it for everything around the world. Very interesting. The gist of quantum computing is like, have you ever seen Ant-Man? You know how when he goes small and suddenly he has super strength? So the idea is there's laws of physics that we have, like boiling point, gravity, what have you. When you get to the molecular level, the quantum level with like atoms, neutrons, protons, suddenly all the rules are different and it allows you to do crazy different things. So when we're building computers that operate at that level, suddenly the computing power is a whole different game. There's different rules. You can do different things. It's kind of like that famous scene with Morpheus and Neo in the Matrix when they're training in that AI dojo. He says, the rules of the Matrix are much like the rules of a computer game. Some rules can be bent, some can be broken. And so we're basically creating a new computer game where we can have different rules. Very interesting, very exciting. Apparently this system needs 2 devices, one on each end. There's a laser involved. This is over my pay grade. It's just a prototype. They published it in a paper. They're basically just trying to connect it. I don't even understand this. I almost want to make a whole podcast episode just on quantum computing. Alright, let's move on. That one's over my head. Alright, so I've said this before. There's a new engine that they have, but it's really an old technology. Most of the most powerful technology we have is technology that was old, that has been revisited and utilized with newer, more efficient methods. This new engine, is called the enigmatic one-stroke engine. I don't even know how this thing works. So they're always trying to make the hydrogen as a fuel, because hydrogen is quite abundant in the world. We have a lot of hydrogen. If we could find a way to make it fuel. They definitely had a hydrogen blimp I talked about on the last few episodes. Apparently hydrogen is an attractive option for manufacturing industries. Like I said, because it's so abundant, but it allows a lot of growth. There's a lot of hydrogen engines being introduced. Is this a hydrogen engine? I don't understand the... I should have read this before I started. It's one of those articles where they post like half the article and then it's like, all right, that's all. And you think, this isn't an article. This is a vlog post. This is an old blog post, like blog with a B as in boy. All right, NASA, apparently they're making a propulsion engine that doesn't need a propellant. How does that work? All right, this is another one of these articles I should have read. It's more speculation. There's no actual product. All right, here's the thing about traders. No, this is fear-mongering financial articles. We don't need that. We'll skip that one. Oh, okay, so Grand Theft Auto 6 is coming. Grand Theft Auto 5 is one of the biggest, most profitable entertainment products ever made. More money than any movie, more money than any game, anything ever. That's how big Grand Theft Auto 5 is. Take-Two is the parent company. They are making so much money, and GTA 6, probably one of the biggest anticipated video games in the history of gaming, is coming out, like a year or two. They just released a trailer, and apparently Take-Two is laying off 5% of their workforce. Now, this is happening a lot in the movie industry and the gaming industry specifically. I think it's because gaming had a big bubble during COVID, but also the gaming industry has been building up a bubble the last 10 years. And the problem is games, big-time AAA games, they take way too long to make. That's another reason AI is starting to become more prevalent, because they're using it to make a game. Because a game is cool, but if it takes you 7 years, like, what is the point, you know? They need to make them come out faster. And apparently Take-Two's laying off 500 people. This is right after the CEO said they have no plans for layoffs. Man, CEOs are so full of shit. They always say, oh, we're not laying off anybody. And then, like, a month later, they lay off all these people. So apparently... Oh, there's a picture of the CEO at a party with employees a month before. Oh, that's dirty. He says they've been planning it for a while. They have third-party expenses, software vended. Basically, it's really expensive to make games. To give you a perspective, a big-time Hollywood movie will make the cost of it will be what, 200, 300 million. Grand Theft Auto 6 apparently cost $1 billion. Isn't that crazy? So we're looking at these things are 2, 3, 4 times. Oh no, wait. I got it wrong. These things are 1,000 times more. That's crazy. My brain hurts thinking about it. These things are crazy expensive. Oh, I didn't know. Apparently Take-Two merged with Zynga? Oh, it's a mobile company because Take-Two's trying to make mobile games. Because mobile games make the most profit because they're the cheapest to make and people play them a lot on their phones. Everybody has a phone. Makes sense, right? Here's another article about drop-offs. Hey, we're at an hour and a half. I want to keep going, but the problem is when it's too long, my MP3 file is too big and I have to lower the quality. It sounds like crap. So we're gonna skip a few of these. Oh yeah, The Witcher ended the new season when they replaced Henry Cavill. Apparently is the final season. Well, duh. This is an example of them taking the IP and shitting on the fans, and what do you know? It flops. Man, season 1 of The Witcher is so good, and then season 2 was alright. However, the season 2 finale made up for it, and then season 3 is just, don't even watch it. Just skip it. Alright, let's see. More. A lot of these articles are redundant. I really need... we got to talk about Dubai's floods. So, Dubai allegedly was doing cloud seeding, which is something China does as well. It's something that makes clouds rain. But apparently, they overdid it. And Dubai, which is in the desert, they hardly ever have rain. They had record-breaking storms for like a week. Just look it up online. Everything is flooded. There's people on jet skis going to work. All the rich people in Dubai with their Ferraris, they all got flooded. Apparently, it's the most expensive disaster for supercars in existence. They're still estimating how many billions were lost. It might even be 1 trillion. I don't know. That's probably wrong, but like these cars will cost $100 million and they're like underwater. Isn't that crazy? Well, apparently the article's behind a paywall, so I can't read it. It almost seems like this article was trying to defend Dubai and say, no, they're not cloud seeding. I think they were. I mean, when you start messing around with nature, like there's a reason we fear nature. Nature is powerful. We cannot control it. The environment, like we take shelter from the environment. Animals do the same thing. There's a reason squirrels build a home inside a tree. They don't just hang out on the curb. You know what I mean? So basically don't mess with nature. But just, you got to look up the videos of Dubai. It's crazy. I've never seen anything like it. Very new development. All right, we'll skip that one. Oh, here's a speculative article about Pluto TV. Pluto TV is owned by Paramount. It is a free streaming service, whereas Paramount, you got to pay. Pluto TV is it's very interesting. It's a free streaming service, but you watch ads. And I've talked about it before. I love it because the ads are more traditional TV ads where they're actually entertaining. They're not annoying and make you want to kill yourself like the YouTube ads. A lot of the YouTube ads are like, it's like, who allowed this ad? It's like some guy who will make his entire video about stocks that's like 30 minutes long. Like, that's the ad. It's a 30-minute ad. Thank goodness you can skip it. But the Pluto TV ads don't do that. They basically, it's like watching television, and apparently there's 100 channels now, and it's taking over TV. I think it is going to replace TV because you don't have to pay for it. At least for now. If they start asking you to pay, now that's different. When you start asking people to pay for something that was free, people get mad. This YouTube channel recently did that. They said, oh, we're going to start charging a subscription fee, and everybody lost their minds. And they had to make an apology video. I think it was a little overdoing it. I think they should have apologized, but it probably should have been like a tweet or like a 5-minute video on your phone. I don't think they need to sit down full Logan Paul style and apologize the way they did, but it is what it is. So Pluto TV, you can get it on your phone, you can get it on your PlayStation, your smart TV. I love it. I basically think it already has replaced cable. The only people that still have cable are boomers. There, I said it. Alright, what else? Ooh, these two people in Valheim, which is like a survival RPG, they built their own RPG inside of it? How? Is it like Roblox style, or I don't know how that works. So they're using mods. I don't think you can. You'd have to like download a separate application to do it. Interesting. I'll have to follow up on this on another episode. Alright, I think that's all of them. We already talked about the solar sails. Oh, we got to talk about this. This is more science. They recently transplanted a kidney from a pig into someone. They've done it with a liver, I think. And they just did it with a kidney, and it worked. This is crazy. It's combined. Oh, okay. So they've created an artificial heart. This is years old. They have a robot heart you can get. But they also combined, they paired it with a robot heart. So they took one person, they put a robot heart and a pig kidney. Or sorry, a pig, is it a liver? Oh no, it's a kidney. They put a pig's kidney and a robot heart in a, like they're both, connected obviously. They put them in a human and it worked. And it's FDA approved. Everything involved was FDA approved. This is crazy. Now, keep in mind, only rich people have access to this for now. Maybe 20 years from now, it'll be different. But, so they apparently modified the pig's genes so that it doesn't get rejected. Okay, so a little bit of history. Pig genes, their DNA, oink oink, like in a farm, apparently their DNA is very close to ours. You think, well, what about monkeys? Those are very close to us as well, but it's far enough away where we can't transplant monkey parts into humans. But apparently pig DNA is so close that we can. Isn't that wild? So that's why they're putting a pig's kidney in here. But whenever you transplant a new organ, there's a chance that the white blood cells in your body will reject it and then you die, or it's really bad if that happens. Apparently they modified the pig genes to prevent that from happening, or at the very least mitigate it, and that's partly why this worked apparently. Wow, that's crazy. They used it on this person. She couldn't get a human heart transplant because she had a bunch of medical conditions. And so that's why they said, well, why don't we try the pig kidney and the robot heart together? Because apparently you can do a robot heart, but your kidney can't handle it. Wow. Y'all, we are headed towards Star Trek. It's insane. Alright, we got... I'm just going through all these real quick. Uncle Vanya? What is that? That looks lame. We'll skip that. Alright, I really got to read through these articles next time. Alright, do I need these more? We'll skip the NASA stuff. Apparently... So Boeing's been in the news a lot. Their planes keep falling apart. But apparently they have a spaceship. And they launched their first flight. Oh, it's going to be in May 6th. So we'll follow up on that next time. That one's boring. So they're making they had a the movie about Facebook about 10 years ago now. They're making a follow-up, Social Network 2. It's going to be the same writer-director. Why, though? Apparently, they're blaming Facebook for January 6th. That's why he's making it. I didn't expect that. Okay. All right, we don't want to get into politics, but it is the entertainment industry. I want to follow this. So basically, he's mad about Facebook because, social media in general there is a lot of misinformation. You have to deal with that somehow. I don't know if an Aaron Sorkin movie is the best way to do it. All right, Falcon 9, SpaceX, rocket crashed in the ocean successfully. Okay. What's the point of that? Alright, that's all. The last few articles are boring. We're going to skip it. What's our time? Almost 2 hours. Not bad, not bad. Thanks for watching or listening on Apple Podcasts or wherever It's mostly Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and YouTube. I assume most people have one of those. But yeah, thanks for listening. This is episode 26. If you want to support us, click the links below. If you're on YouTube, click the links below. If you're on Apple or Spotify, the actual podcast link just takes us to Acast, which is the host of our podcast. But if you click on the link for the episode, that will take you to Let Us Wear Clothing, our merch website. But I'm just going to verbally plug these in a second anyways. So, again, my short film, Blazer Gibson, is out on our website, TemporarySpaceStudios.com. Please check it out. It's behind a paywall. You can cancel anytime. You can just do the weekly option. It's like $5. You can buy our merchandise at LetUsWearClothing.com. We have a new hoodie we released. We're going to put a new shirt on there soon. That supports us the most. Just click all the stuff below. I do a Netflix podcast called What's New to Netflix with Miles. Check that out. Check out my buddy's comic. It's called The Cosmo Bong. That link should be in the YouTube channel. Just search The Cosmo Bong. One word, Cosmo Bong. It's a stoner humor. It's good stuff. Check it out. They're going to have a new issue coming out soon. So check that out. I'm forgetting something. But yeah, just click the links. Look up, support us in some way. Really helps us out. Anyways, I'm Jim Lettuce. Drive safe and shit.